Shay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Shay Lewis. I'm not going to say my age. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan. I live in LA. You can follow me. My social media is at Shay Lewis Music, and I am single.
Well, good to have you, Shay. Welcome to Blk Cinder. I know you had a question or two. What's your question for the panel?
So again, I am single, a single Black woman living in LA, and I wanted to know, what is the best way to go about dating in LA?
All right. Let's kind of take it to the panel. Okay, what do you think the best way to date in LA is?
Well, I'm going to go roundabout real quick. I'm going to tell you the things you don't want to do. Me and KB grew up going down to Crenshaw and hitting Venice Beach. Those are some areas you're going to want to stray away from if you're looking to date in any sort of like, I'm looking for a long-term relationship type form. Our thoughts and prowling ways in those areas, and I would anticipate that the gentlemen that are down there are looking for some short-term pleasure. And so if you want to stay away from Crenshaw Boulevard on Sunday night and Venice Beach on Sunday afternoon, you'll probably be in some good spots.
Yeah, it's a lot of predators down there.
Some true predators, and not in a bad way. It's actually some hawkish predators that might do you some good for other reasons. But aside from that, some places and some things to do, I would say, one, just being yourself and finding people in your natural environment, areas that you tend to be around. You might find people with like interests, and I think that it's more important for you to be yourself in those areas, and hopefully find someone that has that same type of vibe that you've got going on, because one of the key things is to have some interest between the two to be able to get into the dating scene and find somebody that you can kick it with and hang out with and start to take it to that next level. So really just the areas that you probably are already engaged in, and finding folks around there that might be of interest to you. I think that'd be my little bit of advice.
Jamie, you spent a little time in LA.
Yeah,
what's the advice what advice would you give Shay?
Number one is don't get discouraged. Okay. Keep the morale high. It's not an easy place. And I don't like to put negative connotations on things, but that's the reality of it, in my opinion. Do you date outside your race?
No, and that's what I was about to say. Like, I live in a valley, and it is hard. It's hardly any Black men over here. So, I'm just running into a lot of Hispanics and white and Asian, but I don't really see any Black men. And when I do, they're with other women.
Correct.
So.
And that's why I asked, because that's how they roll out there. So I would say open-minded. Just, to consider that. I also think that, you said you have music in your bio. I wouldn't take the entertainment industry guys too seriously. A lot of them are not stable. They're out there. It's about the look and they want to look like, I don't know, old school. They used to want to look like the music videos. Everybody want to Kim K. They're not really spending in their budget. There's a lot of fronting going on. Not to say that there won't be some good guys, but I'm just saying that probably won't be where you want to marinate, but have fun in those areas. I do think people that are from LA, like the LA dudes, are a good option. If you, so we'll talk about places to frequent in a minute. And then I would also say, what was I going to say? Out of towners, some people who come to visit LA, whether it's for some kind of little festival or for a show or for this or that, you may meet somebody that's kind of in the industry, but something more behind the scenes that frequents LA and is not necessarily from LA. And I don't know, I've met some pretty good guys that they were not LA based, but were willing to make it work it doesn't have to be long distance forever. You know how that goes, but
Ooh,
I'm just
yeah.
saying. Yeah. But you know, a lot of people come through and you know, that could be cool too. I would also put myself in environments primarily where men are a little bit more stable.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, he said, just be yourself. It's easy to get caught up in LA if you're that type of person, but being yourself and skipping all the extras and whatever you're not about is perfect. And just have a good time. Don't be discouraged. Know that what's for you is not going to miss you. And, you know, I would say just have a good time, but that would be that's my little mashup of what I think works.
Yeah, my advice would be you probably want to go to football games, baseball games, basketball games. You know, you meet a lot of people there at these activities and events. Now, I'm not saying date the athletes, but there's a lot of people, you know, that live. Hey, if that's your, you know, if that's your flavor, you know, good shot, good luck at that. You know what I'm saying? Take your shot, good luck at it. But I would recommend, you know, people from, you know, just the LA area. There's a lot of people out here that actually were born and raised out here.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't do long distance relationships, so I wouldn't date anybody who was just here temporarily and then flying out of town. It's too much of a headache. But I would say hit sporting events. That's a really good place to find a lot of men. And then also jump on these apps. I'm a big proponent of the apps. Big proponent. Catch that big. You throw that net out and catch as many dudes as you can, and then you just run through them to see who matches up, who aligns with you. And when I say run through them, I don't mean sexually. I just mean meeting them on the apps, and then run through them to see who aligns with what you want and who's talking about the things that you agree with, you know, because it's a lot of people out here. There's a lot of pockets of people out here in LA, and it's really hard to kind of hit all the areas where everybody's at. LA is really, really spread out. It's not like New York and a lot of other cities where everybody's kind of just sandwiched in together. I mean, people, you know, Black people here in LA are spread all throughout the valley, throughout the Inland Empire, throughout the suburbs, throughout the city. So, you know, I would say, you know, you probably want to hit some of the spots in not South Central, but like off of Crenshaw. you got little food places off Crenshaw. You got places up in Inglewood where people are hanging out, meeting people. You know, it's a bunch of different areas, but I would say go online, check out, you know, hot spots in LA, and then get on these dating apps and start meeting people. That's the best advice that I could give you for LA.
Some people
it's
like
super
the
spread
church
out.
thing too. I don't know if you're into church or if those type of guys are your thing, but that could work.
That can be kind of crazy too.
Absolutely. But I'm just throwing things out there. Look, if we're talking apps, we might as well talk about church. We don't know what we're gonna get in either environment. But
see, I would say church if you was a dude, because it's a whole lot of chicks. It's a whole lot of beautiful women up in church. Dudes, there's a lot of predators up in church. There's a lot of predators up in church. There's a lot of dudes trying to take something down up in church. So I don't know about looking in church. I mean, you could try, you know, but I don't know. That wouldn't be my advice.
You're gonna have to be the kind of woman you need to be to magnetize and align with what you need and let it flow. Because you could be at a laundromat, girl. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
And another thing I think KB was giving up a good point is, you know, I mentioned Crenshaw in jest, but like Leimert Park, which is near Crenshaw, some of the Black kind of Renaissance areas would be a good place. Like you said, some good food places, things like that. Maybe you and your girls could go have a bite to eat, maybe have a drink or something and meet somebody there. So there are some areas that have a lot of positive Black men there that could be, you know, potential mate for you.
Yeah.
And don't skip out on Joey's. Joey's got a good happy hour in the Valley. I always meet a little somebody at Joey's. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Look, all three of the Joeys be popping. All right, all three of the Joeys be popping. Downtown LA be popping.
Yeah.
Manhattan Beach be popping, and Woodland Hills be popping too. So yeah, I would hit all three. Hey, anybody who's watching this, throw one of the best places in LA to meet people down in the comments. Let's get your girl Shay hooked up. All right.
yeah. Because BLK, the dating app, it's not hitting for me.
Ooh.
It's so ghetto.
It's ghetto in there.
Oh my goodness.
I wouldn't have even looked.
It's
So
Yeah. Yeah, it's the takedown app for sure. It's the takedown app for sure. For sure.
It is.
Ay, Dios mío.
All right. Any other comments on what's the best place to date in LA?
Think we hit them all.
Nope, we
I
hit
think
that
we
one
got
up.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, for sure. All right, Shay, did you have another question? One more question for us?
Let's see. 1 second. Okay. What's the most important ingredient in a happy relationship?
Okay, for sure. Jamie, let's have you start off on that one.
I would say open communication. When you can feel comfortable communicating how you feel, what you need. I'm talking about what you need in sex, what you need to be happy, what you need in communication. Open communication invites in a lot of vulnerability, which I think stacks on to add intimacy. Checking in with each other often, because I feel like sometimes in relationships, since you are two different people, if you're taking steps without open communication, you could start to be stepping in different directions and then look up and be a lot further apart than you think. But if you're constantly, and not constantly, if you're consistently just checking in with each other and feeling like you're comfortable doing so vulnerably and openly, then I feel like two people could take steps and find pace together and, walk the road as one step at a time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to say, I think anybody who's been in a long-term relationship knows that communication is probably the number one thing that you need. Without communication, like I said, you start to drift apart and things can get ugly real quick. Another thing I would say is the growth, the maturity. When you get together, you're a certain age. As you get older, there's got to be a maturity level. There's got to be some sort of growth in each person, but that growth has to happen like together. So that's where that communication happens. And it becomes really important because as you start to mature and you start to look into, say, hey, like I really like to do this now, make sure your mate is aware that these are your interests now. Because when I met my wife, I was 29, she was 25. I'm 45, something like that now. And so we're like, it's been a lot of growth, but we're not the same person we were at that time. We're completely different. And so you've got to both be able to communicate who you are in the moment and what you expect out of that person. So that communication, growth, expectations, understanding what you guys are both looking for, and making sure that you guys can have that together and grow together, because you do not want to be a 25-year-old your entire life, unless you want to stay single, maybe that's better. But in a relationship, as things start to grow and you start to mature, you want to be able to grow together, but individually as well, if that makes sense. So I think those are a couple of the keys to a happy relationship.
Yeah, I would say those are both good points, but I would say that the most important ingredient in a relationship is respect. Especially when it comes to the man that you choose. You have to choose a man that you absolutely respect. I would say admire and desire, right? Because admiration is an extreme form of respect, and then the desire is the man that you physically desire. This man, I think, if you have those two things, then you set yourself up for a long-lasting, happy relationship. But the respect goes both ways, right? You want to be with a man that you absolutely respect, but you also want to be with a man who respects you. Because I feel like if both of you respect each other, then that's halfway through the alignment, right? Because the respect breeds everything else. Even if you guys disagree, that respect is going to make sure that your disagreements don't get out of hand. That respect is going to make sure that your disagreements are disagreements and don't become arguments. So for me, I would say the most important ingredient in a relationship is respect. As long as you find a man that you absolutely respect 100% and he respects you, you guys can build a foundation for a long-term happy relationship. Not just a relationship, but a long-term happy relationship where you both are happy with what you have. Shay, what do you think? What do you think is the most important ingredient?
I think knowing who you are, period. Because I feel like you can communicate all you want to, but if you don't know who you are, what you want, there'll always be some type of confusion there. And if you don't know who you are, it's kind of hard to respect yourself. And so you won't be able to respect someone else either because you don't even know how to respect yourself. So I think to the core, first, before you get in a relationship with anybody, you need to know who you are first.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's
I
what's
agree with
up.
that. It's a good
All
point.
right. Yeah, I think those were all great points. But speaking of respect, let's transition to our next topic. All right. This recently Keke Palmer went to an Usher concert in Las Vegas, and she wore a sheer outfit with the ass out. All right. Then her boyfriend publicly shamed her by tweeting that she wore something inappropriate. Let's go ahead and look at the video real quick. Kind of outlines what it is, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of do something different this time. We'll kind of give some short headlines of what we think happened here, and we'll go from there. So, Shay, give me your headline for this whole situation with Keke Palmer and her boyfriend. What would your 10-word headline be?
His feelings are valid. His actions isn't respected.
Okay. I like that. Okay. What would your 10 words or less statement be about this?
Keep your clothes on and keep it in-house.
Okay. That's what's up. You don't look like you're too happy about that, Jamie. Give us your 10 words headline, and then we'll get into it in a minute.
It's an echo chamber. His request was valid, but they should have discussed that at home.
Okay. All right. My headline is women don't respect men who make less money than them. Booyah. Booyah. All right. Hey, it's funny as that sounds.
True.
Yeah. As funny as that sounds, it's true. She has no respect for this man. Zero. He probably said, "Oh, I don't." And she said, "Shut up, dude. You don't make no money around here. You ain't paying no bills around here. I'm making all the dough."
And then he went on the internet, like, let me go on the net and tell him what's going on.
Yeah, because he has no authority in his house. He has zero authority in his house. So that's why he did that weenie move and went and tried to shame her on the internet, because he has no authority in his house. If he had authority in his house, he would have told her, "Hey, I don't date women who dress like that. Now, if you're going to dress like that, then we probably shouldn't be together." And if she would have went out, he would have stood on it.
Yeah. That baby umbilical cord barely been cut. What you mean I don't date women who do this? I don't think it's an insecure move on him. I think that it's just immaturity. And I think that these, a little bit younger cats, they live on the internet, and he might have felt that was appropriate and just shot the gun, jumped the gun too quickly when he should have just addressed it at home. Well, he saw her leave the house.
Yeah, that's the other piece. Like, if the respect was there, this never even happens, right? Like, if the respect was there, she's not even walking out of the house with that outfit on to go out into public to show, whatever the show is, I can get it. She's an entertainer. She entertains, and it's always about the drama and the dramatics. But at a certain point, like you said, KB, there's got to be a level of respect. And if she respected him the way she should have, she would have decided like, hey, I don't want everybody to see what I've got going on here, because this is for my man, basically.
Yeah, but she got that new after baby body, so she don't even know what to do. She used to be, one of my friends said, men was looking at her at like Aquila in the Bee, and now she got that little after baby body and don't know how to act.
I think there must be some confusion with her and maybe how she feels she should dress, because in the beginning of her glow up after the baby, he was promoting her body on his story. It's kind of like this switch up now. And it's like, okay, you feel this way now because I'm in front of Usher, but before it wasn't a problem. So it's kind of like, okay, well, how am I supposed to dress when you were cool with it, when you were recording me?
Yeah, and I think that was a little bit of confusion that we had, Jamie, is when I said he should have told her like, hey, I don't date women who dress like this. He shouldn't have told her that when she had the baby. He should have told her that at the beginning of the relationship, before they got into a relationship. Hey, sweetie, check this out. I don't date women who dress like that. So if that's how you dress, if that's how you want to dress, or if you're the type of woman who dresses like that, you should probably go find somebody who, is with all that. But me, I ain't with all that. So right now you can make a choice. And then,
but I think he popped off. Yeah, he was jealous.
And then this is where that respect comes from. No, I'm agreeing with you that he's a buster or immature or whatever it is that you called him. I'm agreeing with you. He's a buster because a leader would have told her right from the rip, day one, hey, listen, I don't date women who dress like that. If you want to do that, if that's the type of woman you are, then you probably ain't for me. I'm probably not for you. You probably won't be happy with me because I'm not the type of man who does that. But he should have came at her from day one and not the day that she actually did it. It's too late by that time. It's too late.
The other thing is, it's not even it's a whole aura of how you present yourself as a man or as the man of, your relationship. You shouldn't even have to say, I don't date women who dress like that. Like part of the what you bring and what you portray as a man should already state that, right? Like there should just be this unwritten code that, I know him. I'm not about to go out here looking like that. I can be sexy in my own ways, and I can be sexy for him. But I know what we've got going here, and out of how our relationship has, been built. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that here. So it's like you said, Kay, like that's something that's set foundation from the very beginning, and it probably doesn't even need to be said, in those words, right?
Yeah, Kay, I think
because I've never had a guy tell me that, but he also doesn't have to. You can look over my history of social media since MySpace, and these cheeks have never been seen.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Kay, I think we're saying the same thing because at the end of the day, whether you verbalize it or whether it's just felt, it's kind of the same thing. She gets the point that you're not that type of man who, is with all that. And so if you haven't made that abundantly clear, whether it's by how you move or the things that you say, then that's on you. That's on you.
I think it was okay for him to verbalize that. I don't think it was a problem for him to feel that way. It's just the way that he went about it to publicly embarrass her. It should have been a one-on-one conversation,
Yeah.
And we don't know what else they're going through, but maybe there was some other static, because I also thought about how hard would it have been for her to just maybe, I know it's not big on responding back, but what if she was just like, we could talk, love you, babe, I'm sorry, we could talk about this at home, or something cute, something cheeky that still showed him some love and respect, and then take it home. Like maybe the whole viralness could have been more Black love related, as opposed to men are controlling, they're trying to police people's bodies, and it went nuts. The think pieces on this thing went ballistic.
But like you said, she doesn't respect him. So it could have been that, but the fact that she doesn't have enough respect for him led her into that whole, that response and how that all unfolded, right?
Yeah.
So,
but she had a baby by him.
Yeah, that doesn't mean she respects him. Like she can have a baby by him and not have respect for him. Women like she can feel like her and that baby are separate from like I just need my baby. This is my baby. Like and we got this. I
Yeah,
don't need, you know what I'm saying? I don't need anything
yeah,
else. She
yeah,
doesn't need him necessarily.
I
yeah.
Where
think
the
she
ring at?
respects.
That's not her husband either.
And kind of
He's not a provider.
yeah,
He's not a
yeah.
provider.
And
Respects
kind
him.
of like Shay was saying, the way he went about it was completely weird too. And I say that because yeah, they could have went through something, but as a man and a leader, I'm not gonna say a man, I'm gonna say a leader. As a leader, you don't react, you respond, right? So if my girl does something that is unexpected, I don't react to it. I sit, I hold it, I think about it, and then when she gets back home, we address it, right? You don't react to stuff, you respond. And unfortunately, this is why, if I know people want to make excuses for dude, oh well, they could have been going through this or do that. It don't matter. If you're a leader, you don't react to stuff, you respond. And as a leader, the best way to respond is to keep your business private and then address it face to face with the person who has did something that you don't like, right? It's the same thing with a man. If a man says something, I'm not gonna get on social media and go back and forth with him. I'm gonna catch him in public, in person, and I'm gonna say, all right, bro, we need to talk this out, or we need to figure out how to resolve this maybe a different way. But let's try to talk this out and then move on from there, right? Let's escalate it from there. But you don't go on social media and bump your gums and Twitter, tweet, fingers, thumbs, all of that.
But that's what they
You
do these
respond.
days, though. These kids are in their 20s. That's what they got. That's how they
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah.
We're from a different era. Like they don't. Of
Men
course,
these
we
days
was
are
meeting
really
people.
emotional.
Yeah.
They're emotional.
Yeah. Emotional busters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
He did
Unfortunately.
a lot of reacting. He
did.
unfollowed her. He,
All right.
page inactive. He deleted all her pictures. And it just could have been a conversation at home. I just don't understand. I just kind of feel like he wanted people to chime in, to have an opinion about his baby mama, but then wanted to have that respect as a man in the household. Like it shouldn't be other conversations in your household. You should be setting the standard. So, yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
do
weird.
want to chime in on the women don't respect men who make less, because a lot do, actually. There's a lot of women that I know who've been on the up and up with dudes and down to grind it out and this, that, and the other. Not everybody feels that way. You do have to be a man that of purpose, but if you don't got it today, like Keke knew he didn't have whatever at the time, but they was laughing, they was having fun, they was acting like best friends. And I don't want her to mess up too much, because yes, she's young, popping, and rich, but it's not that easy out here. So when you're really compatible with somebody, because what I don't want for her is to get to, well, she can do whatever she wants, right? But it's not as easy to align with somebody and want to actually rock with them and be their best friend, and to be, sometimes money's not a factor. Like whatever he brings in or don't ain't affecting their household. So at some point, if you're wise, it becomes more about the person you're with and not just the stature.
Yeah, I gotta disagree with you on that. I gotta disagree with you on that, Jamie. And the reason
That's
I do
fine.
is because the reason I do is because women, the only time a woman is cool with a man who makes less than her is if that man held her down when she had nothing. That's the only time. If that dude held her down when she had nothing, and then she comes up, then she'll stay with that man out of respect on how he held her down when she didn't really have nothing or she wasn't rocking like that. But if you meet a man and he it makes less money than you, then you have proven that you are a better provider than he is. You are better.
Yeah.
You are better with money than he is. You generate income better than he does. And for that, it's like, okay, how you gonna tell me what to do and how to do it, and you can't even do your job as good as me?
I mean, I get your point, but I am a woman and I have a lot of woman friends, and we all don't roll like that. And I'm speaking from experience and knowing firsthand how women function. Y'all got to stay off these internets, and you got to stop chasing the type of women that require you to have all this. Not everybody's like that. We're just not. And, you know, you talk about how women, you know, want to be with that man that basically gets her juices flowing like this. And them dudes don't always got the dough, but we gonna love that man in his broke drawers until he gets to where he needs to be. As long as he's not no bum sucker and he has purpose about his life, if he's not there yet, a lot of us ain't tripping off that.
Yeah,
we're just not.
Right.
Did you watch the Steve Harvey thing with her?
With Keke? Yes. I did. So yes.
I feel like the reason she went that route is because she's been with so many millionaire or men that are financially stable and they don't respect her. So that's why she wanted to get with somebody who, you know, doesn't necessarily match her financially, but still that respect is still there. They can still be best friends. That love is still there. So
she wanted to get with somebody that she could control.
Yeah, that ain't no respect. She don't respect this man.
No.
She went out, hugged up on Usher, was all up under his arms, booty cheeks out. Told this man,
I don't think it would have been a thing if he didn't say anything. If he didn't say anything, nobody would have looked twice. I don't think so. Now the booty cheeks was a lot, but I really don't think it would have been a topic of discussion had he not said anything.
No, it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been a topic of discussion in the media, but everybody who knows this man would have been like, "Bro, your wife? Yeah, bro. Nah, bruh.
But I
don't respect. Okay, your chick.
Sorry,
your chick that you live with. We don't respect you. We don't respect you, and neither does she. His boys would have been telling him, bro, she don't respect you. She just went out and hugged up on Usher like that, or whoever it was, booty cheeks out, everything. She don't respect you. He'd have been laughing behind his back because everybody knows, man to man, we know, bro, your wife has no respect for you. She runs you. And that's what this is.
He don't respect her.
I just think they're young. I just don't think they know better.
I want to touch back on what you were saying, Jamie, and I think you were agreeing, Shay, about women having respect for men who don't make as or who make less than them. And I hear what you're saying from a woman's standpoint. I can't tell you that's wrong, but what I can say is that when women grow up and you're thinking about what you're going to be, what kind of relationship you're going to be, and there is a level of, okay, I'm old now, reality hits, like I'm going to find somebody that I respect. It'd be very difficult to be in a relationship with a man who cannot provide for you. Like to really sit there and have a great level of respect for somebody that does not provide for you. I think that is, I have to push back on that. Like, I'm not a woman and I can't tell you you're wrong, but I think that if we were to poll, 5,000 women, we'd be in the like 80 to 90% range of women who feel like they want their man to be their provider in a monetary sense. Like, just forget everything else. Let's talk about just straight money. Do you want a man who makes more than you or who is equal or makes less than you? And I think we'd be at, I said, 80 to 90% of women would want a man to be that type of provider.
Well, let me ask you a question, okay? They're not even 30 yet. So that's number one. Number two, why do you think these men are going to be broke forever? Don't you do better with a partner? Don't you do better with support at home? Don't you do better when somebody is adding to your skills, when somebody has got your back, when you just going to be broke forever? That's what I'm saying. You got to have some kind of a purposeful, enterprising man so that when we do get in our 40s, he is holding it down or whatever. But just to assume out the gate, because he don't got it now, he ain't never going to have it. To me, the math isn't math. Everybody needs a team player at some point. So I think it enhances the way a man functions. And I've personally I dated a couple of guys who didn't have as much, and them getting with me, their income increased because that's what we do. We're the multiplier.
No, I think that's what happens, and I agree with you. But I think you are also an exception to the rule, which will help prove the rule. If we again pulled out 5,000 women, 80 to 90% of them are going to be like, "Yeah, I want somebody that's bringing that bacon."
Yeah, and this is why I always tell women, don't date men your age. Date men who are older than you, because then they're more in the time of their life when they have money, when they've acquired wealth, when they've been through ups and downs and are proven. Like, that's the thing with messing with a man that's your age, especially if you're a young girl. You can't have faith in this man because he ain't been through nothing. You ain't seen him fall and get up. This is how a woman feels protected. This is how a woman knows that she can trust a man when she's seen a man fall and then get back up. All these dudes that are born with money, they don't never work out because you ain't never seen them fall. And then when they fall, they don't know how to get back up because they didn't work for what they got. Women love women. And this is why I always tell women, don't date men with potential. This is how you waste years and years of your life. Don't date men with potential. Date men who are proven. Go and find a man who is proven.
Women can't win. I feel like women can't win because it's kind of like you want us to date up here, but you don't respect us if we start there either. So
says who?
But
men,
also,
like,
no, they don't.
Gold diggers. If you're looking for somebody who is financially stable and that is a provider, you want us to go through the process with you, and you want us to be shooting in the gym with you. But it's a process to that, you know.
That's you dating them young boys. That's you dating them young boys that want you to do all that with them. Go and find you an older man over 40, 45, and you how old are you, Shay? I want to say you in your 20s, right? You in your 20s?
I'm 32.
Okay, you're a young 30. You're a young 30. You go and find you a 46, 47-year-old man. He ain't gonna call you no gold digger. He gonna be like, come here, young tender. Come here, young tender. I got you.
It gotta be the right one though, because y'all are assuming that that men over 45 are capable of healthy relationships.
Thank you.
I mean, there's men of every age incapable of a healthy relationship.
So he make the money and can't communicate. It's still, I mean, it's wild out here. It's wild.
Grown women are still single because these grown men still don't know the basics about love.
Look, it's not easy. Nobody says it's gonna be easy, you know, but
not easy.
I think when you're talking about a blueprint and what's the most the best route to go is to find somebody who's mature, who's been through it, who understands how a young lady like yourself, like you and Jamie, could help them be even better where they are now, right? Like you said, same thing for me and my wife. Like I was like, I wasn't broke, but I wasn't doing what I'm doing now when I met her. And yeah, she's helped me become, you know, the person that I am today. So if you are in an even better position and you can find somebody like one of you two who can help me get even better, hell yeah, I'd be dumb not to want something like that.
Okay, your wife, dummies out there, Kay. A lot of dummies.
your wife younger than you or older than you?
Younger than me.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Not significantly though. You talking about 10, 12 years. She got 4 years, right? Below you.
Look, I'm just saying, when you older than a dude,
good.
When you older than a dude, he can't tell you what to do. When you older than a dude,
he can't tell me what to do anyway. First of all, I'm a Gemini woman. You ain't telling me what to do.
Okay.
But he could be older and you could still be more financially stable than him. That's the conversation. So
yeah,
it's like,
we talking fringes, and we're not talking like the masses. Like Kev said, the best advice is get you a man that's older, because dudes your age, you're gonna find 9 times out of 10 they can't teach you nothing. They the same age as you, they the same speed as you, and can't teach you nothing. As a woman, you want to be with a man that you feel protected by, and the only way you can feel protected by that man is if he can teach you something. If he's got more stories than you.
Younger men that can teach me stuff. All of this, when I look around now, some of these younger guys, and I'm talking about the late 20s, early 30s, they got it together. We got the internet on a whole new level now. They are Bitcoining, selling courses. These younger guys are killing it, and they are, in my opinion, a little bit more primed to be in relationship than some of these older guys. It's like we're dealing with some kind of weird gap here.
We just talked about how these young dudes ain't built like us. We just talked about that 5 minutes ago. These young dudes ain't built like us. These
but
young
when we're
dudes,
talking about providing and learning,
they got that right. And what I'm telling you is these young dudes got that flash now, but ultimately time will reveal. Right? They'll show you, oh, I got that Bitcoin. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But then when you get in a relationship with them, you'll know, oh, they have no sense of leadership or direction. They got no sense of leadership or direction. What I'm telling you is there's a lot of young dudes, especially on the internet nowadays. They go straight from high school to making money, but they never took the steps that the generations did before them, where you had to work your way up. And there's a learning that goes with working your way up. There's a learning that goes with figuring things out because you've come through adversity, and now you have to teach others to get your way up. These young dudes, they don't have to teach nobody else. So when it comes to interpersonal relationships with women, they can't lead you, they can't guide you, they can't be a good leader for you because they've never figured out how to work themselves up.
I don't want to learn from my man. I want to be loved by my man. So his hardships got a little bit less to do with how he loves me, how he's in touch with his emotions and growth and healing. Like there's all kinds of things that don't come with falling down in business. Like that ain't gonna have nothing to do with nurturing a relationship with a woman that's gonna last long.
Yeah.
Like, because dudes go through up and downs of relationship and can't have a hard conversation with a woman at 46, 50.
So you telling me that dudes in their 40s are less able to have conversations about multiple things with more life experience than younger men that don't have life experience and haven't had as many complications or learnings from adversity. You're telling me the younger people with less experience have better conversations and can figure things out and have more interpersonal skills than men with experience?
I'm saying when it comes to loving a woman, a lot of the times y'all all in the same boat. It doesn't matter 20 something, 40 something. I'm not really seeing, you know.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, sure. You know, work wise, you know, and I get it, you know, adversity adds to you and character and all that. But I just still think there's, you know, a lot missing. Just because you've been through hard things in work, no matter your age, doesn't make you necessarily more capable of romantic relationship.
We agree.
That's
it. We agree on that. I just think that you have a better chance with someone who has versus someone with no experience. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Shay.
I just think that the 35 area, like they're more willing to compromise, as more so like the 50 and up, they're sort of stuck in their ways and they're looking for somebody younger that they can sort of teach, you know, that can
control
with them. You know, that's the word. But yeah, I just think that with older men, it's sort of like you either get somebody super left or you can get somebody that's right, but it's no middle ground there. So
okay, these younger boys is the ones that's tearing y'all up out here, tearing y'all up out here. They the ones who's breaking your hearts, damaging you, running through you, all of that. These young boys, they give you this impression that they're good for you and that you're that because you guys are close in age, you can somehow outwit them, right? You can somehow be in control, and you get your heart broken by them, and they tear you up and move on to the next. And it's like, yeah, you know, if you just fall into your feminine and meet and talk to older men who want to care for you and provide for you, and quit moving so fast, you know, you might have a different experience and a different outcome. That's all I'm saying. Dudes with experience, you might want to fall up under their leadership a little bit and test it out, because it seems like these young men nowadays is running through these women, fooling you, ain't coming correct, giving you they imposter, giving you they guy who they put on for the cameras, and then 6 months later they show you who they really are, and you're like, God damn it.
What do you consider young?
Hey, I mean, I consider anybody that is not 4 to 10 years older than you young. That's what I consider young.
Okay.
Because young is relative, right? If I say, hey, I'm 13, you
This
know,
is a tough combo because
I'm just saying.
it's like, one of my girls just went through this, and this man is 47. He hops on these YouTubes and got all the vulnerability and this and that. And I'd be like, ask him, y'all all think he has all these amazing things to say, but ask the last 3 women he dated if he's really this vulnerable. A lot of guys act and put on in their 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s. It doesn't stop. That's why when I was telling her with the LA thing, you just gotta attract and align and magnetize what's for you. If it's younger, it's younger. If it's older, if it's older. If you gotta because it's not what you think. It sounds good in theory, but out here in these streets.
Look, I agree. Men put on at all stages, but I will definitely tell you, as a man, when you are in your late 20s, early 30s, it's like 1 out of 10 that's actually ready to be in a relationship. Like, these men are playing with your emotions. You get into your 40s and 50s, you got a much higher shot of a man ready to settle down and ready to actually start a family and ready to have a wife. Now, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. As you get older and you have less testosterone, you start
Great, because we all want that.
You start looking at life a little bit different. No, I'm not saying you can't handle your business. I'm not saying just because you got less testosterone you can't handle your business. What I'm saying is that less testosterone gives you a little more clarity. You stop being so focused on things that may not be so progressive, right? And you have a little bit more clarity. But hey, keep going for men your age. See how that works out. I am not a proponent of women dating men their age, especially if you making more money than them. Ultimately, there's a time clock on that relationship. I've seen it time and time again, and I don't know any men who are with older women that they are happy with. I don't know any. That's just me. But hey. All right.
Dang. Yeah. All right.
Any last words on this topic?
Beat that one down. For
I
sure.
think we did. Yeah, I think
we did. We exhausted that one.
Yeah,
all right. Let's switch it up and let's get into a little bit of politics real quick. Where did these niggas be at when they said they doing all this and all this and all this and all this? All right, so last week the Supreme Court struck down the affirmative action for college entrance. Do you think that this is a good move or a bad move for Black people? Okay, give me your headline for affirmative action.
It's 2023, and affirmative action is no longer good for Black people.
Okay, all right. Jamie, give me your 10 words or less headline.
The constant ask for permission is holding us back.
Shay, give me your 10 words or less headline.
White supremacy is relevant and America wants us to know.
Oh, okay. All right. My 10 words or less is we don't need your help.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Shay, tell us about white supremacy since you done kicked that off.
Okay. So first of all, I just want to say the fact that legacy admissions is not in the conversation is like a huge problem for me, because I just kind of feel like the fact that people can have connections and like have a name on a building and they can automatically go to that school instead of somebody who has the criteria met and the skills and brain knowledge to be in that school, but because they're more so like their race is in the topic, then they can't be in the conversation as far as being admitted. I think that's a problem. So yeah, that's just my take on it. But as far as white supremacy, it's just a lot in the background that goes into that. I feel like it's really deep, and just going back to, I know that this it has nothing to do with like a college type of thing with Ruby Bridges, but just the fact that like so much went into that situation and we come to this result, I just don't think that there's any growth in America because of it. So that's just my opinion.
Okay, give us what you got.
So affirmative action initially was brought in for the right reason. There were, Black construction workers, I believe it was in the Philadelphia area, who were not even having an opportunity to get jobs because of their race. Today, when we look at college admissions and affirmative action, it's not that Black people don't have an opportunity to get into schools and we only need to get in because we're Black. We are being put in positions that are actually hurting us. We're being put into schools that we are not prepared for. We are not in a position to be able to take on the academic load because we are being placed in that position with a lower standard. So what's happened is we've now been placed into these schools that we're not ready for and we're flunking out, rather than going to a school that we are prepared for and doing well and getting our college, degree. Now you're going to have exceptions to the rule. You're going to have a couple of people who go in and then they, figure it out and they fight through. That can happen. But right now we're saying that, we still need somebody to give us a helping hand when we are constantly saying like we're just not good enough. And I don't believe that as Black people, we're not good enough. We're good enough. We need to figure out what we have with what we have and continue to build ourselves based on that. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Like I got a lot more, but I want to pass it along.
Go ahead, Jamie. Give us what you got.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. The reason why I feel like we're constantly asking for permission is because it is like, sometimes I hesitate to say stuff like this. I am a Black woman in America. So obviously, I'm not omitted from all of the things, right? But it's like, how long do we need to hold on to what was? How long do we need to try to fit into what the white man need, the white man's structure, the white man's permission, the white man, like, I feel like we're constantly like, can we look for us now? Like that, like I've lived all over the world, and even being overseas, everyone wants to be African American. And I really want us to start to look at our power and step into it and stop begging these people for crumbs in their space. Like you said, if we're qualified, we're going to get it. If we're not, it's not going to happen. But to try to cherry pick people so the room looks colorful is freaking weird. And I don't think at 2023, this isn't, Martin Luther King is not here. This is not 1950. We have tools. We got more to think about and be putting our energy towards other than affirmative action. Like, we need to focus more on our families and unity and growth and love and how we're raising these kids out here and monitoring this music before we're like, can I get in here? Can I get in a job? Can I get in your college? Can I get in? Well, we want to get into, like, why? Like, we are so brilliant. Like I said, I've lived all over the world. Everybody mimics, adores, wants to be African American. When I go out of the country, they think I'm Beyonce. They love my hair. Everybody want to talk to me. They want to be in my face. They want to take pictures. We have this global impact. Yet and still, we're screaming on the sidelines, arguing with these people about what? I'm over it. I don't think we need to stay in that space anymore. It is time for us to recognize our power, own it, and start to move accordingly. What are we doing? I'm over it. I don't need to be. Yes, I'm a Black woman and I'm very proud of it. Like, I sometimes almost feel like I reign supreme in a way, but I don't need every black. Like, okay, but I'm also a human. I'm also a woman. I'm also a life coach. I'm also a lover, a speaker. That, like, there's just so much more. And I just don't think at this day and age, this whole thing is serving us anymore. We're putting too much attention on it when we could be doing something else. We don't need to ask them for anything. We never did.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree, Jamie. I look at the strides that Black people made from slavery all the way up to the civil rights movement, and Black people uh, were incredible. I mean, going from one country and then learning a completely new language and being completely literate in 200 years is something that no other race has done anywhere else on the planet. And Black people had achieved that. And then all the contributions that we've made to this great country were incredible for the first 150 years of this country. And then we hit civil rights and our progress went backwards. Our families broke up. We started, even though our income has continued to rise, everything, a high tide raises all boats, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that we were doing better just because incomes rose with everyone else. But the strides that we made as a people, from slavery all the way through civil rights, was where it was incredible. And what we've done since then hasn't been as impressive. Progress has slowed. And the reason that was because the people before us that were here to start this country and a part of building this country, they didn't have a blanket. They didn't have a security blanket. Nobody promised them anything. They weren't owed anything, and they knew they weren't getting anything. And so because they knew they weren't getting anything, they had to go out and make their way. And this is what happens when people feel like they owed something. They don't work as hard because they feel like, hey, if I don't succeed, someone else is going to save me because you owe it to me. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. You listen to a lot of these multimillionaires, they'll tell you, I had a plan A and a plan A. That was it. There was no plan B, because plan Bs let you rest on your laurels. Plan Bs take your eyes off the prize. But if all you got is plan A, you ain't got nothing else. You got to go and get it. And that's what happened with Black people. Once we got that plan B, we weren't the same people. We didn't make the same progress. And I think affirmative action was one of those tools that told Black people, you guys don't have to work as hard. You guys have a fallback. And at the end of the day, if everything fails, you can blame somebody else. And unfortunately, I don't think that has served us over the last 60 years. So for me, I would love it when our people looked at ourselves and said, why are you giving us affirmative action? We don't need it. We are offended that you would even think that we need something like that. We are absolutely offended, because I talk to my Asian homies and that's how they feel. They be like, what are you talking about? We are out here dominating. We are at the head of the class. Don't give us no handout. Shit. We are doing better than you.
Listen.
So you know, I'm glad it's going. We don't need your handouts. And as Black people, I feel like we need to stop taking handouts, stop being victims, and make sure that, kind of like Jamie said, we start policing ourselves, fixing our own house, and then building our own buildings moving forward.
And even go further into that, Kay, the fact that we tell ourselves things like, oh, we can't get an ID. We're too poor and too dumb to go get an ID. We don't know how to use the internet, use a computer. We can't get into college on our own. We need somebody to help us with this, help us with that. Why are we allowing other races to tell us that we're dumb and actually like cheering it on? We're like, yeah, we are dumb. Shit, we can't do none of those things. We need you to help us do. I don't know how to vote. Somebody come show me, because like if you're gonna tell me I got to get an ID, that's suppressing me. I can't do that. Like that, we have always, not always, but like you said, it was around civil rights, but I think is more related to welfare reform. We put ourselves in this boat of like, we can't do anything, and can you please come help us? Can you please come save us, poor, uneducated, illiterate Black folks, and show us the way, massa? Like, I just need your help, please. And we don't set ourselves, and like you said, Jamie, we are like, yeah, you are that. You are all of those things. And you are like the queen, like whatever it is, feel empowered. Because as long as we put ourselves at the bottom, we're working up from the bottom and we feel like we need a handout. But if we tell ourselves we're at the top, we are the king's queen, whatever type of title that you want to put on it to make yourself feel like you are the alpha of this group, then you will take on that type of role and that type of mentality. And as long as we are looking for handouts and telling ourselves that we can't do these things, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to look for. And it's going to give someone control over us. They've got the control over us as long as we are asking them for that handout.
I don't
Shay.
think, yeah,
go
I
ahead,
don't
Shay.
think the issue is about a handout or a lack of power. I think that, you know, I really do appreciate that Black people do have a lot of power. We have HBCUs and we do know how to create our own opportunities. However, I do also love the fact that a lot of Black people aspire to go to Yale or Princeton or Harvard. And for most of those Black people who aspire to be that, most of the time they got in those positions because they got in those schools because of affirmative action. They marked all their, you know, their cues and they had the criteria, but the only reason why they got in those schools was because of that reason. It's sad. However, I still think that just the fact that that's being taken away from us is a huge problem. I think the problem is a lack of equality. Like, it's not about a handout. I think, you know, I understand what y'all are saying, but I just still think that it's okay to want to aspire to do something else. And that was our route to do something else.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. That's the thing, Shay. If you aspire to something, I wanted to go to the NBA. And if you can't tell, because I'm sitting down, I'm 5'5", I can hoop, but I'm 5'5". I want to be in the damn NBA, but I wasn't good enough. So I can aspire to go to Yale all I want. But if I don't have the qualifications to be in Yale, they're not looking at me and saying, oh, he's Black, so he's not going to get here. They're saying he's not qualified enough to be in this school, so you're not getting in. There's plenty of Black people who are qualified who can cut it and they can get into Yale. They're not cutting us out because of our race. They're cutting us out. They're not even cutting us out. We just aren't in a qualified position to do it. And if we start building ourselves up to get to that position, we will be. But until we put on paper that we have the qualifications to get into these schools, we don't, and we shouldn't.
Yeah, there's more people that's qualified to go to those schools that are turned down because of race. So
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I know, because I know people that have gotten into Yale and Princeton, and
I'm going to turn them down.
Absolutely, but I mean, we're talking about the majority, and I think that a lot of people who are qualified sometimes don't get into those schools because of race. Like, it's more white people in these institutions that are not qualified over Blacks and minorities.
Well, I hear this thing about qualification, right? And I think that people use the word qualified in the wrong way. And when I say the wrong way, I mean, like, I worked for 7-Eleven, Taco Bell. I worked for some big companies. I've been a director at a lot of those companies. I've hired a lot of people at those companies. And I have applicants in different jobs for people who are qualified, but those people didn't get the job. And the reason why they didn't get the job is because it wasn't about them being qualified. It was about competition. Because there's a standard on every job on every job you fill out, there's a qualification, right? You got to have this, and this, and you can check that. The problem is it doesn't stop there, because now after I've got you qualified, then now you got to go up against this dude and that dude and that dude and that dude. And now I'm looking at you going, okay, well, you're qualified, but you're just not better than this dude, because this dude is on his game. And that guy over there, you ain't even close to him. Because this dude, he done did twice the stuff that you done did, right? I get a lot of people who would say, like, oh, well, I had the same qualifications and the same job, experience as this person. And I'm like, well, not all job experience is the same. You were a manager at your mom and dad's grocery store. This dude was a manager at Ralph's, right? He was a manager at a huge corporation overseeing hundreds of people. You were a manager at the grocery store overseeing 3 people. This guy and you are not equal. Even though you got 5-year experience of being managers, your management experience is not equal. And that's because you had to compete with other people. And I think when we talk about Yale and Harvard and these things and black people getting in, yeah, we might be qualified. The problem is we're not competing well because these other races, they're out there doing extracurricular stuff that a lot of our applicants just aren't doing. And we can say, oh, it's because they live here or it's because we live there. At the end of the day, life doesn't really care about that. Life cares about, are you making it happen?
Yeah, I look at Venus and Serena's dad. Like, you got to go at it, especially if your child is young and wants to go to an Ivy League school. The second they figure that out, there's a lot that comes with it. It's the extracurriculars. It is, get into these country clubs and make the friends and network. It's like all of that stuff, combined. And it kind of seems like, I don't know, that's what they do, so to speak. So I don't see why it would be different. The way Serena and Venus, just because it's a general story that I feel like we all know, the way he went at it, who was saying, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. They got it all. Like,
all right. Shay, you wanna close it out? I'll let you since you're the alone descending argument here, we'll let you close it out.
No, I just feel like, if there is some competition, then there'll be the 1% of Black people who are qualified competing with white people who have connections and that aren't as qualified, but to each his own.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say one thing, right? If we, again, focus on policing ourselves and start at home, we'll have more of a foundation to maneuver differently too, because I believe a lot of these people, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but they're coming from 2-parent households. Those 2 parents are working together enough to put their kids in a certain position. They're not letting their kids do some of the stuff that these single parent households and the stuff that, Black families are doing. They're not letting these little kids listen to a certain type of music. They're not. These kids are playing piano and they're like, I'm just, everything. And it's different and difficult. I'm not saying that a single parent household can't do it, but I'm just saying when you're up against, a single mother with 3 kids doing everything by herself and mom and dad works here and does this and mom, like that already out the gate. So if anything, we should be focusing on out the gate.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, now you're 21, now you're 18. It's like, well, what happened when you were 3?
Yeah.
Oh, grandma had you, because like, it's just a lot. There's just so much more to it.
Yeah. Starts with us. It starts with
us.
But
I think it's much more than what we can do. So,
I don't know. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah. Not more than what we can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a Black president for 8 years. So like to say there's something holding us back is like, it'd be impossible for us to have a Black president then.
Yeah. And a lot of people can say that Black president didn't really do much for Black people either, but that's another topic.